Hello everybody, happy Thursday morning. It is 9 a.m. here at the Bass Channel. Good morning, Alex63501 checking in. I got one excited for you here today. We're doing the third day of our Cowboy Bebop musicians, and we're finally getting into Yoko Kanno's super mega group, the Seatbelts. Very exciting, very excited to talk about this. Today we're going to be going over the very first album from the Seatbelts, which is the OST, or the original soundtrack, for the anime Cowboy Bebop, which came out in 1998. And so that's going to be what we are covering today. And if we have time, we're going to go into the other two albums written at the same time. That's right. 3 albums of music written for this anime, all within the span of about 6 to 8 months. Very impressive undertaking and some very talented musicians that we're going to be diving into here today. But before we go into a little more background information and start doing some of the bebop, I want to do a little bit of wake and bass because I haven't played bass in the morning very much in a couple of weeks. So we're going to warm up by playing the opening theme song of Cowboy Bebop, which is also the opening track of the OST this morning, Tank. So we're going to see if I still remember how to play this. I forgot how many fills there are inside of that in the middle of it. But I think I got it all worked up. Let's see who's here this morning. Say, hey, what is up, Zal? Good to see you as already. Panda, morning. Dave, good to see you. Owl, oh yes, oh yes. Good to see y'all. Owl got some good information. Ooh, got some good information for y'all today. I'm excited to share. But let's warm up with a little bit of Tank. Here we go.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody's stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Tank. Oh, that is a fun way to start your morning. Also, that has a lot more fills than I thought that I could do on the fly. But a fun song nonetheless, and a really great intro into what we're going to be talking today about Cowboy Bebop, Tank, all that kind of good shenanigans. Boop. Make sure I turn my bass off. Click. So let's check in here, see who else is joining us here this morning. All right, good. Everybody's here. Most people are here. So let's go and switch over here, get the good view going on. Boom. Womp. Switching to camera 2. So what we got going on today, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, is we've got the first album, the first OST from the Cowboy Bebop soundtrack. So this is officially slated as the soundtrack. And on there we've got 17 tracks, if you guys can see here, all ranging from something like Tank, which what I just played for you was the long version, the full version, things like 3.5, 4 minutes, and the open credit version is about a minute and a half. So on this version of the OST, we get the full track listing there. Then we have things like Rush, Bad Dogs No Biscuit, Cat Blues, things like that are full-on fleshed out songs. Then we have smaller things such as Waltz for ZZ or Piano Black. I think this version of Piano Black's a little shorter. We'll see. I've listened to all of these so many times run together, I can't keep track all the versions of which is which. But the point is, we've got a mixture of original songs and then little thematic chunks that were used throughout the anime to represent different characters. We got a little bit of, what do we call that? Word has popped right out of my head. Star Wars thing. Leitmotif. There we go. Star Wars thing. Actually, it's a Wagner thing. But I like John Williams, so we'll call it a Star Wars thing. But yeah, we've got themes for all the characters that come back through. We've got also on top of themes, we have instruments. So like the jangly acoustic guitar is supposed to represent Spike along with that harmonica, you know, and the longing thing, all that kind of cool stuff. But before we jump in here, I wanted to talk about some really great information that I got from Chains, one of our wonderful viewers here, always hanging out in the community, who is talking to me about some really good info on the group. So as we're looking at the Seatbelts and we're looking at their composition, the first thing that we notice is that there are 3 main groups of the Seatbelts. So there's a Japanese core group, there's a New York core group, and then we've got a couple people in Paris. And these people seem to be more revolved around album production than anything else. But anyway, these 2 main groups have their core members, and then they pull out other musicians from the area, just depending on where they are, where they're performing, all of that kind of stuff. But one of the core members for bass, since this is a bass channel, is Hitoshi Watanabe. And looking through his discogs a little bit, we see some interesting things, lots of credits as far as playing rights, but one really cool connection that I agree with Chains, again, thank you Chains, who found this, is that he played, if you guys have ever seen the video game Shadow of the Colossus, he played every string instrument, not just bass, not just guitar, violin, mandolin, all this stuff in Eco. So he played the music for Shadow of the Colossus, but he wrote and recorded all of the music for Eco, which is the album and the video game which preceded Shadow of the Colossus. So let's see what he plays in here, because he's got, there we go, guitar, upright bass, mandolin, bouzouki, and ukulele. I have no idea what a bouzouki is. Let's learn together. Oh, don't want to highlight that. Now let's see how fast somebody in the chat can beat me to telling me what this is, because they probably will. Oh, did someone beat me yet? A Greek instrument. Oh, okay. Cool. Well, thank you, Watanabe, teaching us all something new. Anyway, so not only did he do that, but he also played in Xenogears, which is a very cool video game series. He played bass in that. And most recently, he was an arranger on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure OST. So, still around, still doing stuff. So, thank you very much, Chains, for that information. Super, super good info. Very, 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 very cool. And yeah, jumping now back into talking about the composition of the Seatbelts here. This first album was recorded primarily by this Japanese group, but we still have some of these New York musicians. Like, who's the guy? There's a guy who's always wears like a black suit with sunglasses, looks very much like a Blues Brothers kind of character, and I'm trying to find where his name is. We'll find it later, but he's, funny guy from the New York group that's always in that group. The Living JoJo reference, yeah. Very much so, Panda. Okay, well, let's go ahead, before I talk too much in circles, let's go ahead and jump into some of the music. So we already listened to Tank. Very, very jazzy, very, very energetic first song. Let's go ahead and jump now over to the second track, which is called Rush. Spoiler, also pretty energetic. If it plays. If you haven't picked up on this yet, we're getting pretty jazzy today. Cowboy Bebop is a very, I don't want to say classical, but a very traditional jazz format. They do a lot of unique, cool things, but they've got the same structure of having what we call a head, which is the melody that you just play through once or twice, and then you go into solos. And that's what's happening right now. I think we get a trombone solo? Yeah. Trombone. In the background, they're just holding. And then after a little while, they're going to kick in. This is another really fun song to play on Rush, because you get that walking bass line the whole time. Yeah, very good point. So Jane's got us with some other information. The tuba player here, who, let's look them up, because I want to make another connection with some of these musicians. But let's look at that cat real quick. Boom, Kiyoshi Sato? No, not that guy. Who's the other tuba player? Who was he talking about? The New York tuba player. Yeah. Ah, they're not going to hook us up here? Let's see if they get us on the other one. New York tuba. There we go. Bill Barber. Boom. Let's check him out. Confirmation on Wikipedia that he played with Miles Davis, which is very cool. I have a feeling this is the wrong Bill Barber. Yep. That's not who I wanted. There we go. I'm not giving you money today, Wikipedia. Okay. Billy Barber. There we go. Played with Miles Davis. Very cool. Very, very cool. Manhattan School of Music. Coltrane. Gil Evans. Okay. They don't put the seatbelts on here, but man, that is a... Oh, there we go. Hey, he's one of the guys playing on Bebop. Good job, Chains. Again, good info. Yeah, I agree, Poppy. You definitely have that big band kind of feel. Okay, second song down. Very, very jazzy here. So, for those of you just joining us, going through the Bebop soundtrack, Yoko Kanno put together a really just super band of not one group, but two groups of musicians. One based mostly in Japan, one based mostly in New York City. And so what we're listening to right now is the original soundtrack, the first album from this anime, but 3 albums were released in the same year. So, going through here, we've got, as we mentioned here the last couple of days, Cowboy Bebop, when it was being created, it was not finalized before Yoko Kanno was commissioned to make the music. So they knew that they wanted to do something in space. They knew they wanted to do something kind of piratey themed or, kind of outlaw themed of some kind, but they hadn't really tacked it down super hard. And then when she starts writing this music, Space Cowboy pops into their head and they're like, oh, perfect, of course, that's it. And they finalize all the characters and they really build this anime at least partly around the music, at least for the aesthetic of it all, as far as how every planet they go to is kind of a Western planet, or it's either, very, very rich and wealthy casino, or it's very destitute, kind of, left in the past kind of thing. And, it's very much a space Western. So with this music, that's kind of what's going on. If you were listening to this, there was really no indication that we're in space. It just sounds like straight up blues music, or at certain points we get, I wouldn't say classical, but I would say jazz ballads. All of this music is either jazz or blues for the most part. We've got a couple things that sneak in there. There's a metal song, from Heavy Metal Queen, that's really, really cool. And there's a couple other things, but for the most part, that's what we're sticking with. So for the third track here, let's keep rolling through here because we got a lot of tracks on here today. We got 17 tracks. Not all of them are super long, but we're going to keep chugging. So this is called Spooky Dokie. Pretty good. I used to think this was Spooky Donkey because I'm dyslexic, but that is not what it says. Time out for a second. Looking up the harmonica player. There's two, but one of them played on my Yamane's album. I bet that's the same person, because the other connection that I wanted to make here in a second is with Pizzicato 5. Man, this guy played harp on a lot of stuff. He's so good. Alright, who else plays harmonica on this? I will truly never understand why Discogs cannot just unify all their information into one thing. I just want to know who the harmonica player is, dog. You're gonna... What is this? Okay. Well... I thought I was getting closer, but I got further away. Whatever. It's either this guy or this guy. Yeah. Tasaga, and man, you're totally right, Al. It's awesome how much stuff these guys have played for. And again, it's super interesting to see the connections of how they all know each other from different albums and from playing on different things. Okay, so it is almost guaranteed that the harp player right now is Nobu Yagi. This guy right here. Slamming that harp. Because this other cat, Seno, Rurochiro Seno. Hey, there's Hiroshi Sato. Same cat. Alright, a lot of people have played with Hiroshi Sato. Ah, here we go. So he was part of the box set, but it doesn't look like he was a part of the original one. That's a sweet double guitar. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Oh! Okay, well, I'm definitely gonna have to check out this album sometime. Whew. One of my hats just fell off the wall in protest, I guess. Okay, so we'll take a second here to pause and just kind of look through here, just a few more connections. So, right now we're looking through Nobuyagi, guy playing harp, just shredding it through all these albums, so good. Made the connection that he was playing on my Yamane's album 18 years earlier. So there's a connection to two of the people again. My Yamane is one of the vocalists and probably the most recognizable vocalist from this album. She sings the real folk blues, Don't Bother None, Knocking on Heaven's Door, all these different songs. Anytime where there's a Japanese and English singer, it's usually her. A couple times it's Yoko Kanno, but it's usually her. So we've made that connection. Another interesting connection is I'm clicking through and looking at all these people and like, oh, where have you guys played? There's Jun Fukumachi, our synthesizer homeboy, hanging out for us. And then I start noticing, oh, Pizzicato 5. Well, that's kind of interesting. Pizzicato 5. Oh, pops up a couple times. We go to our other character. We look at our harmonica player, Pizzicato 5. Look at our guitarist, Pizzicato 5. So I thought, well, let's see what Pizzicato 5 really is. And it's apparently a Japanese pop band that has been around for 30 years, or was around for 30 years, and had a whole bunch of different members and really went through a bunch of different versions and iterations and things like that. But early on, they had a bunch of studio musicians. And a bunch of these studio musicians all ended up playing later on the Seatbelts. So there you go. A little early connection there for the Seatbelts, Pizzicato 5. All right, let's keep going through the tracks here. So we just had a very relaxed, chill track there called Spokey Dokey, where it was featuring our harmonica and our guitarist, which we're going to look up here during this next song. Now we're coming to another one of my favorites off of this first CD called Bad Dog, No Biscuits. This is a fun one. Good to see you. Welcome to some intense jazz day. I don't know why I'm so surprised, but I just found out that the guitarist for Cowboy Bebop is the guitarist for Trigun in Gungrave. Now, the Gungrave thing, I did know because Chains told me, but I didn't realize the Trigun thing. That is crazy. That is so cool. Oh yeah, we're gonna dig into this guy. Oh, here's a great part of the song. Okay, pretty fun track. Lots of... If you haven't picked up on the two speeds of this album, it's either full tilt hard bop jazz or it's pretty chill. So this is... I think you can tell which one this is. Now, just looking through real quick here as we turn this way down on the side, we've got this guitarist here, Tsuno Imahori. This guy is awesome. Really interesting guitar player. So he has his own band called Tipographica. I can't speak. You guys know this now. Anywho, he played all over the place. We looked through his discogs. He's got all sorts of stuff as far as early things with Yoko Kanno, things with, there's that Tipografia thing. He's got his own albums, all this kind of stuff. I don't see the connection to Pizzicato 5 as much, but he's the guy who's got our jangly guitar and brings that sound in for us. That real cool blues style guitar. Like, I don't know how much on this song he was doing other than just backing chords. Because I don't think he really shreds a whole lot on this album as far as like electric guitar shredding. He does plenty of acoustic, like really, really sweet blues shredding, if you call it that. Anyway, again, this is a guy who did all sorts of video game music and really cool connections to all these other parts of the media world during this time. So video games and anime and solo albums and playing on backup groups. Very, very cool. Looking for the James Bond fight scene, or chase scene. Pretty much. Okay. Sweet. Okay. Now we go into the cat blues. So this is one that falls into the category of pretty fun, pretty chill. So this is a good opportunity while this is going on to talk a little bit about all these different genres that we have here in the style, because that's another cool thing that Yoko Kanno does, being a classically trained musician, is that she has an affinity, or at the very least an appreciation for all the different subgenres that exist within every genre that we like. So if you're, let's say that you're a pop fan, well, do you like pop idols? Do you like pop bands? Do you like multi-people bands? Do you like single? You know, all these different subgroups. Same thing here in jazz. So something like, and I am not a jazz aficionado, but just looking through here, we got free jazz, harmonica blues, bop, swing, hard bop, piano blues, cool jazz. What we're listening to right now, definitely cool jazz. I'll put a shiny nickel on that one. I'm gonna guess that people would agree with me. This is the cool jazz style where it's lean back. We've got a very repetitive line. Not a lot is happening. A lot of unisons, tons of space, that kind of stuff. Yeah, Tessie 321. You missed the opening tank, but maybe we'll get back to it at the end. But yeah, harmonica blues, that's pretty self-explanatory. That's where there's a couple tracks on here that are just harmonica, that where when you have a blues form, which we call a 1-4-5 progression generally, which just means, trying to break this down the simplest way, you've got 7 notes before you go back to the 8th note in a scale. And so we've got that first note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 is 1. You go from the 1 to the 4 to the 5, and then you go back. It's a cyclical form. Anyway, point being, all that is blues with the harmonica. Sometimes there's a guitar, but it's just very, very sparse. Then we get into bop. Now I'm starting to get confused because bop and hard bop, I know that has to do with speed and playing really, really fast, but it also has to do with modes. Free jazz is doing whatever you want, going crazy. Piano blues, self-explanatory. Swing, getting something in 3, that kind of stuff. Again, I am not a jazz aficionado. I should really know more. Let's see what they define bop as versus something like hard bop. Okay, so they say, we'll take a little pause here. They're saying bop, up-tempo, improvisational form of jazz, 1940s, offshoot of swing, antithesis to the swing big band sound. Okay, kind of interesting. Focusing on harmonies instead of melodies. Okay, so that's bop. So hard bop is the hardcore version? Is a subgenre. Extension of bebop. Okay. The new current jazz, which incorporated from rhythm and blues, gospel music and blues, saxophone and piano playing. Okay. All right, so interesting. Talking about hard bop and bop being an offshoot of swing or an antithesis of swing, but then also having that in here is kind of a cool combination of different sounds that we got going on. All right, well, let's keep looking here at what we got next. So now we got, Cosmos. This is a very spacey song, if I recall. Ooh, I don't want to miss the, oh yeah, this is great. Can't miss the beginning of this one. Great solo. Not exactly what I wanted, but. Oh, here we go. Oh, I think this is just a dude. Okay, so this is one of those thematic songs. So this is used to represent, I'm trying to remember, it's not Julia, but it's, I don't know, it's either old, like an old version of Spike, or like a memory he had of one of his old characters. But that theme, that Cosmos theme, is woven into all these different parts of the CD. So you'll hear that theme come back in solos, like somebody will do the and they'll pull that in out of nowhere, or we'll have an outro to a song where a piano comes in and starts playing that. Piano solo has this as one of like the themes that's all woven in. So that's the first example of one of our little cutaways to a, well, I guess it's our second one, because Spooky Dokie was the one that was for Spike, that one that was just guitar and harmonica. So now we've got Cosmos. Somebody help me out as far as who, yeah, no, I love Chains. I totally agree with you. I love that song. If somebody can remember who the theme is for Cosmos, hit me up in the chat. Okay, next one, Space Lion. This is the one I was thinking of. That was all spacey. We'll see if we get all the way through this one, because it's quite long, if I recall. Yes, this one is quite long. But the intro is beautiful, though. Nice connection there by James. Masato Honde, one of the sax players, played in T-Square. Another great connection. I've not talked at all about T-Square. I look forward to talking about that. That's a good point. He also played in F-Zero? Shut up. Oh, I love that. I love any F-Zero connection we can get. So cool. Okay, so again, this is another theme song. And as we go through here, you're going to hear a little bit of a world music influence here, even though it's kind of a BS term. But get ready. Oh, I forgot how long this song is. In a little while, you'll get it. Oh, cool. He played in Toshiki Katamatsu. Hey, it's got a 5. Yep, T-Square. There it is right there. Osamu Koke also played in T-Square. Crazy. All these guys. Yeah, no, Honda. I got what you're saying, man. It's cool. Oh, here it is. Hey, Meiko Nakahara. There we go. Everything is connected. Yeah, okay. Oh, Maria Takayushi. How cool. Man, this guy played set. Wow. Okay, so this song is very cool, but this song kind of goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Space Lion. Just, it's a great song, but as I crash my computer. It's great. It's cool, but it is absolutely a lay in your bed at night with all the lights off and just kind of one of those pieces. But very, very, very cool. But we got things to get through. It's 9:35, and we still have over half of a CD. So next thing we're going to look at is Waltz for Zizi. This is another leitmotif theme for our main character's love with the other female character, who is gone for half the series. And so you hear this in a bunch of different ways. Like sometimes, I think this is the theme, they put this on a music box. And so there's a little music box that he has that he cranks up that you can hear this theme. And there's another one too where they have a theme. Maybe it's not Piano Black. Maybe it's Rain. I can't remember. We'll get there. But again, this is our guitarist, Tsuneo Imohari. This is the guy who started, he had a couple bands here, but his biggest one was kind of a, not a prog rock, but like a, I mean, I don't know how else to explain it other than Frank Zappa. they put him as a Andy Partridge, Frank Zappa. I don't know who Bert Jansch is. This is somebody I do not know. Some guy. Sorry, guy, I don't know you very well. But anyway, he is a very eclectic guitarist, but he sticks mostly to this acoustic kind of blues, slide guitar kind of stuff. So, anyway, this is another example of a pretty chill song that is fleshed out quite a bit, and in the show, it's just a little snippet most of the time. So if we jump forward here, yeah, this is what when you hear it in the TV show, you hear this little snippet. Or this real thinned out version of it. But yeah, man, the connections these guys have to all these albums, especially the saxophone players. These four cats played like on every album we've looked at, or is related to some of these albums. The only person I haven't seen yet is Tatsuro Yamashita. I've not seen him tied in directly with any of those cats, but I'm pretty sure he did something with T-Square. So we'll see. Okay, beautiful song, but we're gonna keep going here. So now we've got, another great one, Piano Black. Let's check this out. This is a cool song. Okay, a Yoko Kanno special. This is Yoko Kanno playing piano. The I was just looking through some of the people we haven't talked about yet. We got one of the trombonists here, Junko Yamashiro. She didn't really do much before this. Looks like she did one thing, a motion picture soundtrack before the Seatbelts, and then after that, she did quite a few things that have to do with anime and soundtracks, it looks like. Funkastic. Okay, you have my attention. Yeah. So that's cool. That's kind of the start of her career, was this album. What a great way to start your career. Oh, hey, she played on the Super Mario Odyssey soundtrack. That's cool. It's fun to see how some of these artists either started off in pop music and shifted into video game music and soundtracks and incidental music, things like that, versus the people who have just gone straight through. Because you're not really seeing the opposite. You're not seeing people who are arranging, composing, controlling, all of a sudden being like, I want to be in a band. No, they start off in a band and then they're like, I got my idea, I want to go do this. And so it's interesting to see that this is like one of the characters who was like, no, I just want to play, and I want to be like, and I know what I like, or at least she has a lane that she's clearly desired in to be doing all this kind of stuff. But very cool. Oh man, Piano Black. Okay, this is the short version. It's like, I could listen to this song for hours. Okay, here we go. Next one, Pot City. Oh. Our standard reggae song. I'm beginning, I don't know what it is, but I think that there's some unwritten rule in Japanese like culture or law that no matter what you're doing, no matter who you are or where you are, you need one reggae or African or South American inspired song on every album created. Because I see, like, I'm noticing now, it's like everybody's got something. Even my Yamane had some kind of, I don't remember what it was, but she had some kind of Latin beat, even though most of that album was so chill and just relaxed. But yeah, I think this is, I'm trying to remember what episode this is where they're running around. Something with hippies, I don't know, space pot. I mean, the song is called Pot City. Little on the nose, Yoko Kanno. Little on the nose. What? Man, Chains is just dropping bombs on us here. So good. Some of the Seatbelts members are apparently part of the Mario Kart band, which is pretty cool. Now, while this is just a fun side note, but let's see if I can find this real fast. If you guys haven't seen this, this is pretty funny. There's a kid who puts a sax solo. Let's see if I can. Oh, there we go. Yeah, the Mario Kart lick. We're gonna pause this for 1 second because this is just kind of a funny side note. Not only do I think this is probably the same cat who's playing flute here, or playing flute. I'm reading two things at the same time. This is just a kid playing the sax, but whoever played saxophone on this Mario Kart track is probably one of these people, and this is absolutely how jazz works. You hear a lick that you think is cool, or something like that, you memorize it, and then you throw it into something else and you change it a little bit. Or in this guy's case, he was just memeing, but funny nonetheless. And this kid's super good. Tasty. I like it, kid. Snagging the Mario Kart solo. Okay, let's keep moving. So that was Pot City. Moving on to Too Good, Too Bad, track 11. Plowing through here. Another awesome. I don't know if you call this hard bop, but this is heavy brass in this song. I think this is where we get our tuba solo. So I'm not just singing. So our other tuba player now, we've got another connection to Miles Davis. Or I'm not Miles Davis, that was our other tuba player. This guy's a connection to James Brown. Now this looks like he was a producer of some kind on some kind of reissue, but still interesting. Still pretty interesting. The tuba sounds like Chameleon. Let's see. Where's my seatbelts? great song. So, very obvious. I mean, we're listening to a soundtrack for a anime. But having said that, we have gotten one song with lyrics? Have we had any songs with lyrics yet? I don't think we have. Oh, yeah. Card 24. This is, I still don't get this one. It's super cool, but I have no idea where it is in the anime. I can never pinpoint it. This is the best part, I think. Get to the sax solo. Now, as wonderful as all of these albums, especially this one, are, they're great. Why you gotta hate on the strings so much, Yoko Kanno? Where's the violin part? Where's the violas? Where's the cello? There's no way I'm gonna outplay the bass player. But I wanna play with you. Another thing I wanna look at the end here. Their seatbelts had been dormant from 2008, I think. Something like that. Let's see what it says on their official thing. 2012. 2004. They had stopped in 2004. And now they're back together. As of a month and a half ago, they're back together and they're doing these live sessions to raise money for COVID. And I showed you one of those videos yesterday and they're, oh God, they're so good. And they're pulling in other musicians. And so, help me petition, let me in. Let me in. Let me play with you guys. I'll play anything. I'll play a cowbell. I don't care. But they're doing stuff again and it's super cool. I'm super excited. I think they're going to do a new album and they're going to record something. I don't want to jinx it, but I think they are. Okay, so that was Card 24. Now, let's go to Egg and I, track 13. Oh, that's what we just did. Nope, that's what we're about to do. Oh, yeah. So here's another one of our, I'm not going to say goofy tracks, but not as serious. This is that, I think it's like a penny whistle? Maybe not a penny whistle, though. A recorder? And this is what this song is. Bum, 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 bum. This is walking around town music right here. You're just having a good day. It might be a piccolo. I don't know. It sounds a little too green. Well, they're gonna do it again, so let's listen. Oh, we do get a sweet slide solo. Oh, hell yeah. It's so good. Tsuneo Imahori. My slide guitar guru. Oh, now a fife I would believe, Poppy. That's something, I would go with a fife. Because piccolo would be deafening, like it'd be so much air pressure, just like, ugh. And it would sound a little nicer, and I think they specifically, I'm sorry to say, that's kind of a shitty sound, but that's what they want. They want that. It's not like it's supposed to be a bad sound, but just not focused, not refined. It is what it is. It's supposed to be like rural music. Look, that's bagpipes. Or that's supposed to imitate bagpipes. That's a synthesizer. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Poppy D. Fife or something Scottish. Something trying to emulate that Scottish sound. I think a fife is Scottish? Irish? Scots-Irish? I'm off topic. Moving on. So that was the Egg and I. Now we're on to Felt Tip Pin. I think this is another thematic piece. Let me Yeah, it kind of is. It's one of the jangly guitar ones. I'm trying to think who this represents. It's very chill. So I'm remembering now as we're listening to this, this is the album that has, I think, no singing except for one song, which is going to be the next song, which is called Rain, which has several versions. And unfortunately, I think this is the version where the guy sings it, which we might skip. Well, not skip. We're going to play my Yamane's version. Sorry. I'm sorry, it's just gotta happen. YouTube, Rain, my Yamane, because I'm pretty sure it's in Celtic. Okay, Celtic, that makes. Do I know Tatsuro Yamashita? Yes, I do know Tatsuro Yamashita. I love Tatsuro Yamashita. Also, I promise you guys, I have not forgotten about doing night bass. I am going to be doing some night bass, and one of the things I'm going to be doing is playing a whole lot of Tatsuro Yamashita. So, check in for night bass this evening. We're going to do a little bit of it. Okay, now back. Our next track is Rain, which is one of the there's a big scene in episode 5 where we meet one of the main bad guys and they get in a huge, sweet, badass battle and they're in a church, and then at one scene there's a huge explosion, all this stuff, a lot of pathos, energy, emotion. And this song is playing during it, and it's called Rain. And there are many, many versions. This is the version they went with for the actual... I think for the actual anime, the original run. I don't feel a thing. Or maybe this is just the English dub. It's very possible this is just the English dub. Days are just like moments turn to hours. Mother used to say, if you want, you'll find a way. But mother never danced through fire showers. Walk in the rain. Anyway, great song, very, very cool. Now, I think this version, I don't know why they didn't use this. I'll never understand why this was not the main version. I don't feel a thing, and I stop remembering. The days are just like moments turn to hours. Like maybe there's a little bit too much reverb, but... Mother used to say, if you want, you'll find a way. But her voice, man. But mother never danced through fire shower. Whoa, in the rain, in the rain. I think her voice is such a better fit for the song, and just for the feeling of what's going on too, because the conflict, without ruining anything in the anime, the conflict is between these two guys who used to be close friends, fighting over a woman pretty much from their past, and there's other things involved, but I just think this is a better representation, and I like her voice better. Also, when we get to the guitar solo, do we have time? We're running out of time. Oh, let's get to the solo because it's just so good. This is definitely one of those My Yamane Tastagore things where just out of nowhere the guitar just starts shredding. Oh, that's kind of a fun picture. Here we go. So again, when I say shredding, we're not getting Eddie Van Halen in here, but just like these screaming guitar solos, very much in talking about the blues, what they call the wail, wailing on that note, going, those kinds of things, or, barely pitching a note up or down to, mimic a voice scooping in and out, those kinds of things. Goes way, way back, the wail, the hundreds of years as far as a trope of musical idea. But very, very cool use, Yoko Kanno. Very, very nice. Should have used Lonnie Yamane, not Steve Conte, but whatever, it's fine. Now, last two tracks, Digging My Potato and Memory. taking my potato. Another great harmonica track. Got 4 minutes. Dang. Skip in a little bit. So we're going back. It's a lot like Spooky Dokie. Got a little bit of that vibe, or maybe something like Too Good, Too Bad. Cool song, though. Okay, last one. Memory. Last song off the OST. Here we go. This is it. Okay. Adieu. This is the song that comes later in these different CDs that has to do with Julia. And so, okay, I had misspoke earlier when I said it was Waltz for Zizi. It's not Waltz for Zizi, it's this. The song is called Adieu, and this will be the last thing we listen to. Oh, it's so good. Really, really great. We're just going to listen to a little snippet of this because we're going to listen to some of this tomorrow. So this is the same. This is the full version of what we just heard. The music box.
Beautiful, being a clown, lost my way from up and down. And I know, yes I know. And I see in your eyes that you really weren't surprised at me at all. Not at all. And I know by your smile it's you. Don't care for me, don't cry, let's say goodbye, adieu. It's time to say goodbye, I know that in time.
And this is a taste of what we're getting tomorrow. The deep
It's
tracks.
time to say goodbye.
And I think that's appropriate for today. I think it is time to say goodbye for the morning stream because we've only got a couple minutes left here. But I think today was a good session. I love the Bebop soundtrack. It is so fantastic and so diverse. We've got 7 albums in the span of 3 years. 3 that happened in 1 year. So what we're going to do tomorrow is we're just going to dig through. If people have favorites they want to listen to, pop them in. We're going to check them out together. I'm going to show you guys some of my favorite ones. I'm going to play a little bit more for you, see if I can get a couple more Bebop songs under my fingers in 24 hours. And like I said earlier, I am bringing back Night Bass. It is happening. So tonight I'm going to be playing. I think I'm shooting for 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock is going to be the time that I try to do it. Central Time. I am bad at time math, but I will be on tonight. We're going to be playing through some Tatsuro Yamashito, might do some Bebop, some songs that I'm working on. We've got some Shambara. I did not forget about you, Ohajimon. That video is coming out. I am getting there. And yeah, we're going to have some fun. If you guys had a good time, like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. Let me know I'm on the right track, doing all the right things. Hope you guys have a fantastic Thursday, and I look forward to wrapping this up with you tomorrow morning for Bebop Part 2. See you guys. Have a great day.